Check. Slowly we turned on the light of hope when the marches started and it took too long. Oh, and the turning point is slowly we turn to open up the store, to open up the store, to open up the store. Slowly we turned a corner of humanity. Slowly we turned and we forgot who we slowly we turn to everything we hoped for. Slowly return, slowly from the window closing. Slowly return, and another state is ending. And another hope is And so we begin. Well, how are you, everyone? Hi, how are you? So yeah, I started with a demo I've been working on, or a song I've been working on, just after doing my taxes on Monday or Tuesday or whatever it was. I started messing around, and I thought I'd try a run through. Not sure how that went, but it's work in progress. I like going back and forth between new projects and older ones, and of course going into completely different things, because I feel that it's good to keep one foot kind of rooted in your roots of the past, and bring up some old thing that you need to work on. But I think it's equally important to work on new things. And if you've been watching enough to know my personality, or what I like to talk about a lot on this thing, is it doesn't matter if it's past stuff, present stuff, future stuff, bad stuff, good stuff. The point of the thing is to work on things, right? So anyway, so tonight, so far, unless of course, let's see, hold on, let's put on the interwebs here. Ooh, nice. Let me say hi to people here, since I've got the screen up. Hi, Claudio, Sue. Nice to have you back, Sue. Totally Left, Ira, welcome back. Marcelo Conrad, welcome. JPK Knights, thank you. Hi. Did I mention Ira? I think I mentioned Ira, but why not Ira again? Control Dive, Mark, Tedalari, Jeff, Elizabeth, all of you. I think I saw Maya in there somewhere. Hi, Lizette. Hi. Hi, all of you. Welcome back. Tonight, we're going to talk about different subjects. I actually have my cheat sheet. I decided I'm not going to print them out anymore because that's just a waste of paper, because after the show, I kind of like, and it winds up just being landfill. So now I've got me notes on the screen, so I can look at the screen and, further get distracted from the camera than I already am. But tonight we're going to talk about gear acquisition syndrome, although the musicians in the bunch are going to think it's all about music gear. It isn't. I think this applies to shopping, shopaholics of all kinds, but we'll touch that subject. But mostly gas. Something that I like to call cafe, which I kind of didn't want to say what that was until we get to it, but there's something that I have called cafe, which is actually a good use case for NFTs, actually, of all things, but not necessarily. While I drink my root beer. Yes, root beer. Because sometimes I don't want to have alcoholic drinks. So, gear acquisition syndrome. So what the heck is that? For those that have never heard of it, we're going to talk about it. And of course, you can ask questions throughout this entire thing. You can take it completely off its rails, and we can talk about completely different stuff. But for the most part, I'll bring up the titles. We're going to talk about gear acquisition syndrome, the techniques to overcome it, just a few. The cafe practice, which is something that I've been doing on the fly for a while now. NFTs are not just for profile avatars of the rich, which actually ties into a few things. Music and art post 2020. But that's going to be more about you guys talking to me about that stuff than me talking to you about that stuff. So we're going to talk about gear acquisition syndrome. What is it? Okay, so it's this need that we have to get another piece of gear, even though we may have every single piece of gear that we would need. Case in point, if you look at my studio here, I've got my controllers, I've got my trusty a PC. I've got a really kick-ass computer, a nice monitor. I have an entire drawer full of mics. And yet, every so often, I will turn on the web and I will want to search for gear. Why is that? Why is it that we just want to buy more gear like all the time? What the heck is wrong that we're just trying to buy more gear all the time? And well, the short answer to that, if you've been watching this thing and you hear me talk about this, I actually looked at the science of it because I wanted to study what the science behind gas or gear accumulation syndrome or acquisition syndrome, as some people say. What really is it? And it basically has to do with a dopamine rush. It's almost the same as the social media rush when you post something and you come back to see if someone liked it, or, if you got any shares or retweets, or someone watched a video and left a comment, which is something I really wish you do. But those kinds of dopamine rushes, the things that all these algorithms work so hard to get us to come back to social media and post and see each other's stuff, it's those very same algorithms playing around in our brain that when we don't get enough pat on the back from ourselves with the gear that we have to buy more. And I believe it comes from a root fear. So I'm going to pull up the science, and then you can look at the science yourself. I will actually put the link, as they say. I'll put the link in the chat so that you can follow along. But here, I'll pull up the capture, and we'll look at the science. This is the science, thanks to Joshua Sarignana for this. I came across this. But basically, on the left, you have impulsive behavior, right? Which is the thing that is going to be driven by any sort of outside influence. And that middle influence that you see is stress. When you get stressed of any kind, and that could be just that you want likes and, clicks and all that kind of stuff, that causes you to have this impulsive behavior. And what it'll do is it'll cause you to start desiring gear. It basically makes you want to check out new things. It's not always because, for example, we think to ourselves, well, I've been wanting a new mic, so I need one. But do you really? Or are none of the mics that you're using good enough? Another one is, I've got 6 guitars, but none of them sound exactly how I want. So I want that 7th guitar that I know will be the one. And I've done it with synths, and I've done it with all kinds of stuff, even software. In fact, it's funny. I have a funny story on the side to share with that. I had seen this Echo plugin that I really, really wanted. I could have bought it. Instead, I wound up spending the money on some stupid synth plugin that I'm not going to say which one, but it was not a bad thing. It's just that once I got over the excitement, I realized, man, I just spent $60 on the wrong thing. So it doesn't really make sense, right? Jose says, I have been getting out of control with cassette decks, 7 so far. Is it because one of them is better than the other? Are you searching for that ultimate deck? Like, what's going on here with that? I just want to know, because that's cassette decks. So can you imagine all this different gear? So obviously, there's the updates. Do we really need to update the software that we have to the latest version? Is it really necessary? Was that one feature worth it? And and look, I get it. Some of it is obviously worth it, so you should do it. But not always. Not if, for example, that rush only lasts a few hours and then you're on to the next thing. Or after a few days, nothing meaningful has come of it. So I devise certain little techniques for the gear part, which I'll get into separately. But for the most part, I haven't updated Ableton to 11. I've held off. There's a lot of things that it does that I really like. And there's a couple of problems that it solves that I thought were really meaningful for me to upgrade. So I thought about it, a lot. But with all the experimentation that I've been doing with music and with all the different types of plugins that I already own, half that stuff I already had. And so it becomes like this balance of, is it just because I had the money and I want it? Or is it that I really need it and it's really something that I must have? Like, is there something that really spoke to me in such a way that I gotta have it, And the answer was no. But this is how I arrived at the answer. So I'm going to share a couple of different techniques you can use to kind of curb that habit of buying things that you really don't need, especially when it comes to gear. So for the nerds, although like I said, this could apply to all types of, obsessive shopping. All right. But let's play a song first. All right. So I'm going to start with a remix. This is a remix that my friend Dan did on this really, really crazy old piece of software. And I think he did this, I want to say he did this in, I should have noted it. I think 2007, either 2007 or 8. We didn't really have full-fledged looping DAWs back then. I think Acid was the only one we were using, but he did this really cool remix of 45 and from Electrodelica. And I'm going to play that first, then get my notes in order, and then I'll tell you all about the techniques on avoiding buying gear when you really don't need it. But this will also serve for some really good creative outpouring. So in the end, it's not like one of those, like, I'm going to slap you on the hand, don't buy gear, and then make you miserable, and then you want to buy gear anyway. I'm going to give you cool homework you can do with the gear you have that might actually inspire you to write some songs. So anyway, let's play a song. We'll go UFO Overhead. Here we go. 45, the Blue Noise Mix. Ooh, I forgot about that ending. That usually goes into another song. That's interesting. I'll have to find that too, because that's also a remix. Wow, weird. So, gas. Do you have gas? I have gas. You have gas. We all get gas. Sorry. But gear acquisition syndrome. So I was surprised, if you're looking at the science behind this, that the main reason that people get it is surprise, surprise, resistance, fearing creativity. That is the main reason that it happens. Now, this isn't the same as buying music, because someone on the chat said, I buy a lot of music. That's different, because obviously you're buying music to listen to music because you love it. And yes, the argument could be made that I buy different pieces of gear so that I can make different sounds because I love it. That's true. You could say that, except for the fact that 99.9% of all the synths that you could buy will probably make the same sound, and we could all synthesize that sound or sample it. So therefore, that argument doesn't work in my book. So buying a lot of music, spot on, do it. But buying a lot of gear and not really using it and just accumulating it, well, unless you're a collector, that's different. There's so many different arguments in favor of it, right? Now, if you're a collector and you collect these instruments, nothing to say. That has nothing to do with it. Collectors have a different mentality. I'm talking about a creative person who goes out and always wants to buy art supplies, but then comes home and the art supplies that they bought aren't the correct ones. It's a different brand that they were thinking of, and they should have bought that brand. So they'll start that painting tomorrow when they go back to the art store to get that particular tube of paint. That artist. Or the person who just came back with a guitar, plugged it in, played with it for 3 hours and said, I don't know that I have any pedals that go with this guitar, so I'm not going to write any songs until I've got these pedals to go with this guitar, and goes shopping again to find the right pedal. There's 2 basic reasons why this happens, and let me see if I can pull it up so you can read it yourself. Well, no, it's too long for you to do it yourself, but one of them is buying gear to ease pain that you have, which is basically you're avoiding being creative. And one of the reasons that you're avoiding being creative is either A, you're afraid that no one's going to like what you're doing. Remember this talk? Or B, you're afraid that what you're doing isn't good enough. Do you remember that talk? We had that talk about imposter syndrome. Guess what? They're connected. So resistance plays this funny game. And I told you how I kind of treat it as though it were a living thing that, well, not quite living, but a horrible enemy that's out to get me, right? It's going to attack me in any way that it can. Any excuse that it can use, it'll use. One of the best excuses that resistance, your enemy, is going to use against you is you don't have the right piece yet, or you don't have the right piece of gear to get that sound. You don't have the right guitar, the right paint set. You didn't take the right vocal lessons, because it's all connected. And this is going to keep you from doing the things you're doing, right? So, techniques. What could you do? All right, so let's see. Technique number 1. I'm going to read my screen here. I'm going to read it because it's easier to read it than to try to paraphrase my own thought processes. Sorry. Pick up an instrument you already have and make an entire song using just that. Or set up an experiment with that piece to see how it will sound. In other words, so you've got this synth, you're kind of bored with it, you haven't played with it for a while, and you think that this brand new shiny one that you just read about is going to be the answer to all your problems. Who knows? It just does this one thing that you think it's going to do that all your stuff doesn't do. Well, you could take that piece out of the closet, plug it into some other pedal that you bought that you thought you were never going to sell that you're now thinking of selling. Plug a mic in, mic it up, do some weird stuff with it. Like try something that you've never done with this piece of gear. Dig it out, plug it in, go through the trouble of taking it out of its box, especially if you still have the damn thing in the box, because believe me, I still have some stuff in the boxes that I haven't pulled out of the closet in a long time. So you pull out this piece of gear and you do the experiment. And the goal is not that you're going to write a song or that this magical opus is going to come out of you. The idea is that when you're working with this piece of gear that you haven't played with in a long time, that you're just going to open up some pathways. Resistance hates this. And next thing you know, you may find yourself whistling a tune, thinking how cool this was, how you never understood this particular parameter before, and here you are messing with it, and it's happening, and it's working. You have just beat resistance. And chances are that the desire to buy that new piece of gear will die down. You won the battle for that hour, that day. Tip number 2, read the manual that came with your gear. Did you miss out on something cool? Was there something on page 188 that you never read that you should have read because it would have opened up your whole world? And you're like, oh my God, it does auto pan? I didn't know it did auto pan. People are like, what the heck is auto pan? But that's another way of doing it. Open up that manual, crack it open, and see if there's anything in there that you never tried with this piece of gear. For me, I think that when I got the MPC, the very first time that I got an MPC, I was really intimidated by it because I was used to really easy drum machines. So one of the first reactions that I had to an MPC was, I just want another drum machine. This is hard. There's a lot of things to learn here, and it's like the manual's like this thick, But I stuck it out. And then I got to know it, and then it became like one of my favorite tools I ever used. Same goes with the ESQ1, which was, it's almost synonymous with A-Box. I got to know that piece so well that it wasn't so much that I needed that I would feel the need to get new pieces of gear. It's that, what could this new piece of gear do that this possibly couldn't do that I hadn't already tried? And because my relationship to the instrument grew, I never really thought of changing. I got other things, but the core of it still stays with me. I still use it. I still use it to this day. So that's a big deal. And well, I don't want to talk all night. So I'm going to play stuff, then I'll come back and we talk. And so anyway. So I'm going to play a demo now. Talk about gear acquisition syndrome. This was personality acquisition syndrome. This is when, this is another one from the early diary. So you can almost think of this week as an extension of last week, because it's almost the same playlist with different songs. But this is a song that I recorded straight to cassette. I want to say this was about 1992. No, I'm lying. 1990. 1991, actually. Huh? I don't know. I'm forgetting things today. But I'm pretty sure it was 1990. I'm thinking of the recording. It'll come to me after I hear it. I know that. Anyway, this song is called Songbirds. And it's one of the early diary songs. And I wish I would have recorded this one, because I kind of like this one. I wish I would have recorded it, but oh well. It happens. It shouldn't, but it does. Songbirds. Oh, you guys, thank you for that. Thank you. I'm glad that you like these things. Time, time sometimes does not permit to record everything you have in your head. Um, but that also could be taken as an excuse. But in my case, I can tell you that there's so much stuff that gets shoved under the rug for new things or for things that are happening that you just forget to go back. So sometimes I'm happy that I have those cassettes because at least they remind me, that there's things that I can go back to and record, which kind of goes into our next topic, but we're not quite done with the other one yet. So let's see. Um, where were we? Yeah, read the manuals. Okay, so here's the last two tips about gear acquisition syndrome. This is one that I've been using more lately. And yeah, by the way, I am just as guilty as anyone else of doing this. I will sometimes find myself looking at microphones I don't need, preamps that I don't really need to upgrade, all kinds of stupid things that I know that the reason it's happening is because I'm feeling some sort of insecurity about writing, or maybe the room, or maybe the way things are being captured. And it's easier to run away into a catalog or Amazon or whatever you want to call it, and then just open it up and go, oh my God, look at this. This is cool. Maybe this will solve the problem. No, it won't solve the problem. The only thing that solves the problem is the work. Nothing else solves the problem. Just do the work. But anyway, these are the other two techniques. And this is one that's newer for me, but I kind of like it. Watch tutorials on instruments that you own or live performances using the instruments you own. For example, if I watch someone going crazy on machine and showing like this amazing new routing thing that they're doing, obviously it makes me look at my own machine and go, shoot, I've never tried that. That might be cool. I should actually sit down and attempt to wire this thing the way that they did and see how it works for me. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But the idea is in my head, and that takes it away from I need something different. Not to say that, by the way, that getting something different won't inspire you. It's just that you'll know if you're doing it. Let's put it this way. If you're buying a new piece of gear every other month, but every other month you're not really doing anything new musically, there's a disparity. If you're out shopping for art supplies, but you haven't painted in 2 months, there's a disparity. You need to fix that. And the best way to fix it is some of these techniques, right? So yeah, watch a tutorial. Those tend to really work. And this one was kind of cool too. This particular next one. Listen to really simple or minimalistic music. See how little it takes to record something, but how amazing it can turn out. A really good example of that is if you've never listened to the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's and you realize that this was done on a 4-track reel-to-reel, and how much work it would have taken to plan out where everything was going to fit on 4 tracks. And then you hear the end result. It's amazing what you can do with so little. So sometimes limiting your options and experimenting with those limits will cause you to have a different relationship with the gear. Because I think that in the end, these things are tools to help us be more creative, but it's us that have to get creative before the tools come into play. It should be, I'm going to paint, where's my brush? Not, I need a new brush before I paint. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I don't know. Does it make sense? But again, all of this comes from resistance, or the thing that I call resistance, which is rooted in 2 basic fears. Fears about yourself and fear about your people's perception to you. These are the 2 core things. And if you're able to kind of confront those 2 things on a daily basis with the work that you're doing, which is just sitting down to play, sitting down to draw, sitting down to mint, whatever it is, you're going to get over it. Because you're lowering the stress level and your brain doesn't need as much dopamine now, and it will start to get its dopamine from the work that you're actually doing. And then it's more work. You're doing more work. And the more work you do, the better it is. So, and I just realized my mic sounds like crap today. Why? I think that's better. Oh, there we go. That's a little better. A little bit better. But, so yeah. So that's what you got to do. So ends the little segment on gas, unless, of course, you have questions. So feel free, ask questions. I like them. Meanwhile, you can always subscribe. I so suck at this part. I really do. I am not a YouTuber. Can you tell that I'm not a YouTuber? Like, it must be painfully obvious by now that I'm not a YouTuber. I'm just stuck in this little room with all this gear, talking to you wonderful people. So yeah, let's play something. So this one I've played before, but I was in the mood to listen to this one today. So I thought, well, since I'm supposed to play only this stuff, otherwise I get dinged, why not play one that I want to hear? So I'm going to play a song that we recorded straight to reel. It was supposed to be a B-side, never happened. This would have wound up as a B-side, more than likely, to Soul on Fire. And it just didn't happen. But if you kind of picture where Soul on Fire is on Peace, and then you kind of figure this song as the B-side, you kind of get the gist of why I paired them up in certain circles. But this song is called Pray.
Life, death, death, life, death, life, death, life, life, death, life, death, life, death, death, life, death, life, death, life, life, death, life, death. I have seen a vision, moments lost in time. No one seems to notice it but me. I saw an ending to all that we
pray. So, while I was in the chat, Lalo asked me on Facebook, what can we do when we're on a creativity block? So, I'm going to assume that the question means, what do you do when you have a creative block? And there's no easy answer, but there are certain techniques that I know work. And they actually involve almost the same techniques that I just brought up. The easiest is to do experiments. Find an experiment that you can do that you've never tried before with your particular piece of gear. Or if it's like, it could be lyric writing. So I'm going to use that one because that one's a hard one, right? If you're creatively blocked and let's say you wrote a bunch of songs, but you can't seem to come up with lyrics, that's a tough one. So one of the things you can do is you make up stupid words, meaning you sit there with the recording and you just have a tape recorder out and then just sing random combobulous words. The reason that you do this is because you're trying to unblock the energy itself. So as you do these exercises, like an experiment or singing nonsense stuff into the microphone, eventually things will come out that will surprise you. In fact, they may come out so well timed to the actual song that you will think that some weird miracle took place that led you to that particular thing. And luckily, and I'm just saying this with as much humility as I can, I'm very lucky that particular block is not an area that I'm very concerned with. I feel that lyrics are a lot easier for me, so that if I have a piece of music, if it starts to move me, shit just starts coming out. So it's basically grab a pen and write as fast as you can. Or I'll listen to a piece of music for a while and I'll just turn on the microphone and hit record, and whatever happens, I know that I'll have, bits and pieces of the song. So I know that that's not an area where I worry too much, but I do have creative blocks when it comes to like sitting down to write a song or working out, why a certain part of a song isn't inspiring me to go further, that kind of stuff. It happens to all of us. What you shouldn't do is to try to appease yourself with the distractions, because the distractions will keep you away from it even longer. And then you're just going to feel bad that nothing happened. And then that becomes like a perpetual cycle. You feel bad that you didn't work. So you go to sit down to work, but you remember how bad you feel. And then it just kind of keeps doing this weird thing. So the easiest thing to do is to literally sit down, do random work on the song. Maybe I'll just play with the EQ. I'll fix the drums. I'll fix this. How can I make this one sound a little bit better? And as you do that, obviously you're like, there's a part there that shouldn't go there. It should go here. Oh, wow, there's a part that I could play. Let me pull that up. And that's how you kind of start to break the curse, as I say. If you're a writer, one of the best techniques I've ever learned, and I do it to this day, is something called the morning pages. Morning. And basically you keep a notebook close. I have plenty of them and I keep them all close. And what you do is every morning you open it up and you start writing 3 random pages of stuff. You're not allowed to think about it. You're not allowed to not do it. You just do it. And even if believe me, I have these pages. If you can't think of anything to say, you write, I can't think of a damn thing to write about that's going to fill 3 pages up. Oh my God, why the hell am I doing this? This is the dumbest exercise on the face of the planet. I wish this pen would run out of ink. So and so and so and so. And you do this for 3 pages. And you think it's not meaningful. In fact, when you're done, you may think, all right, I did it. I did those 3 damn pages. They're done. Close the book and you're done, right? What normally will happen is that the act of having done some work on some writing will eventually, and I mean, like, if you're really blocked, the first day may be nothing. The second, third day might be just little somethings. But by and large, by the first week of doing this, those 3 pages turn into, one paragraph of what you don't really know what to write about, and then 2.5 pages of ideas, characters, things that you might have, ideas that you may have for a story, or where you want to take this record that you're working on, and so forth. So journaling in a weird way, but it's forced. You're forcing it. And I know that people think that you can't get inspired by doing that, but it's really not about being inspired. It's about breaking up the energy. What you're trying to do is get rid of all the garbage. Once all the garbage comes out, then you're kind of clear to just create new things. And you'll see, if you do it enough, you'll see that after a few weeks of this, it becomes something you look forward to, and ideas come out of it. Now, when I sit down to do it, it's actually a bit embarrassing to me, because I'll sit down and do it and I'll have 20 solid ideas, and I know that I can actually never be bored. I have no excuse that I could ever give to myself for not doing something, because all I have to do is go back to 3 days worth of morning pages and I'll see like all these ideas for experiments that I have, and I can pick and choose any of them and start them. So that part of it can't be an excuse. You can't make excuses for not doing it if the ideas are right in front of your face. You have to kind of, and obviously, and I'm not going to lie, if this becomes a problem where even doing the exercises causes you anxiety or angst, I'm not going to rule it out that anyone, me included, at that point should talk to a therapist or talk to someone about it, because it could go a lot deeper than just having a block. Creatives are the worst for getting help. You guys are funny. Wait, you downbeated me. Ah, that's funny. I downbeated while you were on the freeway. So I slowed you down? Is that what you're saying? That's funny. But anyway, see, if I look at the chat, I lose my train of thought. But I'm trying to look at the questions too. Hero Protagonist on YouTube says, I justify it because each little bit I pick up leads to hours of noodling around with making new sounds. Well, yeah, that's fine. Because even if you're noodling around with new sounds, at least, if work gets done, if you get a song out of it, it's going to be fine. But if months have passed and you don't see that anything that you've been working on is getting you closer to an end goal of some sort, then, Houston, we have a problem. And we have to kind of, we're going to have to address it, So, and like I said, I'm not impervious to it. It happens to all of us at every level. So these are just things that over the years, I've kind of figured out ways of, doing it. Now, I don't tend to buy new gear as often anymore. Like I said, I fail once in a while on that front, but for the most part, I've been pretty good with getting to know my gear. Meaning I'll crack out. That sounds funny. I will crack open a manual and read, or I'll watch a tutorial on the piece just to see if I missed something. And then usually that'll bring me back to the piece, and then, I'll hang out with it. Or I'll take a piece out of the studio and mess about with it outside of its normal setting. Like maybe I should take Machine and put it and hook it up to the little Mac and, sit up next to the windowsill and see if something comes up, or take my laptop, throw it into my backpack with a little controller and go somewhere to play music that's not the studio. That's another, you got to get out and do experiments that way too, getting out of your comfort zone. So, but anyway, that's, gas. So let's play something. So someone asked me a question. Okay, so this one, I let me see. Sorry. Give me a second here. I'm trying to figure out what I already played and didn't play, and fix the playlist as I do it. There we go. Sorry. So someone asked me on Bandcamp, because I took questions for tonight, so as I remember which questions are coming from where. So this was on Bandcamp. They were wondering if I would ever do another tour based on, doing an acoustic set again, like we did with Kulaks, and or whether there would be a full-on diary thing where the diary opens up for Anything Box and does an entire set, acoustically or with guitars and all that stuff. And my answer to that question was that I would love for something like that to happen, but I don't know that it can happen, at least not now. My bandmates are all in different places. My brother Gary, for example, which we would need for doing something like this, he lives in Houston. Dave's out in New York. Although Paul lives close, our schedules are sometimes too conflicting for us to really get together to do something like that. And acoustic shows, they're hard. They're really hard because you can't rely on the sequence playing back perfectly, and that maybe you're just going to mess up a lyric or, drop a note or something. No, it's going to be like train wreck city if you don't practice. And these are things that must be practiced to the T if you're going to do something like that. So add that to, for example, trying to do a diary tour and work on diary songs and what that kind of rehearsal would look like with like a real band, meaning bass, guitars, and keyboard player, drummer, and then Anything Box, which would be me with a bunch of machines. I don't know that we can pull that off anymore. But we did do it once, and you can have those experiences with that stuff. But who knows? Maybe it'll happen. So that got me thinking, and so I added one of the songs from Kulaks to the playlist tonight, just so that, those that don't know about this, we did way back when, we did a streaming concert from a cafe, and it was completely acoustic, and it was a lot of fun, but it was so stressful. So I'm going to play one song from that, and that'll be the live track of the evening. And then when we come back, I'll tackle the cafe, which is a perfect lead into the cafe technique of whatever it is I'm going to talk about. So this is Blue Little Rose. Blue Little Rose, you are crying. I am trying to let you know that I love you so. Sweet little rose, let your petals sway on your lonely days.
It's a short song.
So the reason that I chose that one was because that was the sloppiest one of all. And that was the one that we only practiced for one day. All the other ones that we played that night, they were pretty tight. And I really loved it. But I realized how much work that would be if we always had to do one of those every so often. It would have been a lot of work. So actually, the diary doing something, I doubt it. But what I have thought about is maybe taking a diary song once in a blue moon and turning it into like an A-box kind of production. And then that way, when I go play live, I can do like one or two diary songs every so often. It could happen. I'm not sure. I'm not promising anything, but it could happen. It's one of those things where to do it is, like I said, would be really hard work. But, So, next topic at hand is this thing that I call cafe, which is, it's an acronym, obviously. And the acronym means create assets from everything. It's something that if you're starting out, because I get these kind of questions all the time, like, what should we start off with? What should we release? What should we, how can we sit down and write a song? Like, yada, yada. There's like all these different questions about starting. And one of the first things that bands usually do is you kind of have this manifesto, right? You begin with like, well, I want to make this kind of music. And from here, I want us to put out a single, an album. And all these little intermediary steps along the way, there's scrap papers that were written. There are songs in their half-finished states, demos that are recorded straight to cassette, hint. All these different little things that, quite frankly, as you progress in your career, all of these things are going to become assets. So one of my biggest regrets that I have with some of these assets is that I didn't keep all of them. You think that there's a lot of material that I play on this thing, stream or whatever, where you guys get to hear a lot of early stuff. Well, you have no idea how much stuff was destroyed, where it's just gone. Or I may have even horribly just taped over something because I don't care about this song anymore and I need to tape. I'm going to tape over this one. Like these kinds of things. Of course, now that I've gotten older, now that I've been doing work on more art, music, you name it, I'm in it, right? Digital art, NFTs, all that stuff. It's become more important for me to keep those assets. And I realize that all of them have value. They all have value in some way. So I strongly recommend that you try this out. And what it really means is to start keeping a folder, and I don't mean just on the computer, of all the little incidental things, like a dumb photograph that you guys took of, your first band meeting, the notes on a napkin that are going to be used for the first video you ever shoot, the first doodle that the band made or that you made for the design of the cover of the record. All these things, they're all assets, and you can create assets from them. These are perfect use cases for NFTs, for things to put in the booklets, for free stuff to give to people when they buy your songs on Bandcamp. It's stuff that when I was younger, I really didn't care about that stuff as much. And to my surprise, as I've gotten older, it's not just the fans that care about this stuff. It's me too, because it's almost a way of going back and enjoying that time period as it was by having these things in front of me. They're almost like little chronological little time machines that you can fire up and say, this is what life was like in 1988. And I'm glad that I took the time to do it with some stuff, but there could have been a lot more. So start thinking in those terms. Like when you're creating things, think of it as, is this just something that I sampled that I'm going to use in a song? Or is this something that's worth giving away for someone to have to make songs with? Is this, you know, is this scrap of paper with these funky lyrics worth keeping in a drawer somewhere so that 2 years from now, like someone will win this and they'll love it? Like these are like seemingly trivial things. But believe me when I tell you, as the years go by, your audience will love the idea that you kept these things and that you were able to preserve them. Very recently, I saw Spandau Ballet put out a few posts saying that they wanted fans to give them videos that they may have from the band's earliest days, because they have no videos. They didn't decide to film every concert that they were at, so they don't have anything at all. And they were asking for this, and I thought, man, there's another example of create assets from everything. So yes, obviously, if you're at a show, put a camera up. Even if you don't like the footage later, it doesn't matter. Believe me, it's going to make someone happy at some point in life. It's going to make somebody a happy camper. So, but how did that come to that? Like, where did this come from? So, a couple weeks ago, I realized I lost a song. And it was one of the newer pieces. There was a song I was working on called I'm a Ghost. And I had started to work on the lyrics to the song. And I remember that I had kind of worked it out into a 3-part little story. And I had written it down in some random stupid notebook, which for whatever reason, I can't find that page with all that written information. And to top it off, I thought I had transcribed it to the computer. It's not in the computer. So the lyrics are gone. The scrap of papers that they were written on, they were gone. And after searching through like all the hard drives for the lyrics to this song, which I only wrote in 2020, so it's like really stupid that such things should happen. It occurred to me that a habit that I used to have a long time ago, I had stopped doing, which involves part of that create assets from everything. So I'm going to give you an example. So here I have a book. This book, which I titled Forbidden Fruit, has all the lyrics to basically the first Diary album, and most of the first 3 albums that A-Box made are in this book. And that's because this book's function was only for lyrics. It had no other function. There's no diary entries in here. There's no journaling. Only the final version of a lyric was allowed to go in this book. What's cool about it is that because I have this book, someday someone will find this awesome to have, right? But it's awesome for me because if I need to find the very first time that I wrote the lyrics to Living in Oblivion, where are they? They're in this book. And to prove a point, I went looking because I thought they have to be in here. And they are. Look. You see that? I hope you can see it. And look what's on the other side. Can I do it? There it is. Heaven's on the other side. So it's nice that I can go back to this book and find, Living in Oblivion in the book, but I can't find a song that I wrote just last year that I was so jazzed about, and I thought I transcribed it to the computer. So what did I do? I went out and got A new book. Gear acquisition syndrome. But no, I'm kidding. So the new book is now where all lyrics will go. And I'm going to bring back that tradition of writing all the lyrics down in one particular place. And even if I write the song in a cafe with my other notebook, I will come home and transcribe its final version into this book before it even goes into the computer. This way, there is always a hard copy written in a book that I could refer to that has all the lyrics in it of all the new songs. Because that's how I roll. I like efficiency in the end. I don't want things to get lost. Not for me and not for you. So remember that phrase, cafe. Create assets from everything. And I mean it, everything. Everything you have, that first t-shirt design, whatever it is, all that stuff is worth keeping. Start a scrapbook. Put them into, things like this, You know what? Like, it's funny. The stuff I could show you. But anyway. But, yeah. Make assets from everything you've got. Because the reality is, it's going to make it easier later if you're gone. For people to kind of go through that stuff and find it all. And I think that that's kind of important. I don't know why it's been that important to me as of late, but I really want to record as much as possible, put out as much stuff, and catalog everything so that everything can be found. I hate losing stuff. So anyway, I don't even know what you guys are saying because I inadvertently closed the chat. Byron, at a Flock of Seagulls concert I went to in Seattle, they rocked a song and then asked the audience if anyone had a copy of it because they had lost the originals. Yeah, exactly, man. That sucks. So, yeah. I mean, it's good to have the tech that we have, right? You obviously can write notes and put them on the cloud. I get it. But what if you forget or you think you did it and you didn't do it? Hard copy. But that's the other side of it. If I was going to, for example, NFT, like the lyrics to Living in Oblivion, people aren't going to want my Word document. They're going to want that page right there. They're going to want to see that, So I think that this is the way you keep your legacy going from the beginning of the beginning of your band. So if you're starting out, start taking the simple things that you have and cataloging them and making assets from them. There was a pun in there somewhere. I know there was, but okay. So let's play a song. Oh, that's funny. I was going to play this song earlier. Well, this is going back to Lalo's question from earlier. And this song is actually going to help me out. Pay attention to the lyrics. Because in this particular song, this was written 2020 when we were under lockdown. And I was in the living room and I just wanted to get an idea for a song down. And I had half the lyrics in my head already as I was writing the song. But then an event happens and it threw me completely off. But to not miss the beat, I kind of incorporated what happened into the song. See if you can figure it out. I'm going to play that and then we'll come back and we'll talk whatever you guys want to talk. Meanwhile, distorted TV thing. This is called Am I Truly Free? Song idea. Tell me what it means,
Well, it's real reality, and I don't know why. Should I care? Can you tell me what it means to be human? And another day goes by, and I know I am so free, as I am nothing more than free. There goes my phone off the hook, another nook, and I feel alright, and I can't explain. For a walk, I go outside, looking out, I see the sunlight fading off the trees, and I'm fading away, and I am truly free, oh yeah. Yes, I am truly free, oh yeah.
Whoops, that's it. So I hope you heard that. Well, my phone rang. No, that's a real guitar. No, that's literally my real guitar. I was sitting in the living room. I was sitting in the living room with the guitar in my hand, and my recorder was right in front of me, and I was playing. And then, of course, because the recorder was right next to my phone, I got a text, and that threw me off. So I was supposed to do the whole line about going out for a walk. That was the line that was supposed to come there. But I wound up saying, "There goes my phone." And that took me off into a different direction. But it illustrates the point that if, even with an interruption, I didn't want to stop, because the idea, I knew that I had this whole, like, I took a walk in my head. I knew I had that already. So I wanted to get that down rather than being frustrated and hitting stop and record again, or, starting over. I was already into it. So the idea was, just make something up. Don't stop. And so obviously I incorporated the phone into the song. And then by the time I got to that verse, there's a little thing that happens where, I don't know how to explain it, but a note gets bent there. Dun, 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 which would never have happened had the phone not rang. So now I know that when I go to record this again, I have to incorporate the entire sequence. I'm going to have the phone and have to figure it out how to do it, because obviously that's how it works. So again, when you have a mental block, sing gibberish, sing whatever comes to mind, sing whatever is happening while, you don't know what you're going to sing. Just sing stupid, meaningless words. You will never know how close to the real thing you're going to get until you actually do it. So anyway, so I hope that answers that question about blocks, because I was going to play that song earlier. Oh, nice. Laura, hi. Hi from Mexicali. Saludos. So anyway, oh, and by the way, I liked your acronym. I lost it. Where is it? No, it's already like all the way up there. But great asset acquisition or something. What was it? GAS. Great assets to save. There you go. We can do that instead. Great assets to save. Um anyway, we're being funny here. Of course. But at any rate, um so yeah, I hope that helped you guys out. I hope the whole gas thing is a little easier to deal with. And like I said, you can always hit me up. I'm usually live on Twitter at least 2 or 3 times a day. So if you hit me up with some questions, or especially if you hit me up with questions on this video when it streams and when, of course, it gets posted, I will always come back and listen to them. I will read every comment and I try my best to answer all of them. So do you have gas? Well, no, it's just my squeaky chair. I tried to fix it today, but I couldn't. It's like just squeaky. I can't help it. I think I'm gonna have to get a different chair. This is like not working. But all right, let's play another song. Let's see. What do I got? What do I got? Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I was gonna play that tonight. Sure, maybe. No, not yet. So anyway, what else did I have in mind? What else do you guys want to talk about here? Let's see, what else was in the titles? Because I forgot already. Oh, yeah. Yeah, NFTs are not just for profiles and avatars of the rich. Yeah, that one. The reason I'm bringing this one up is because there are some people who are not into the NFT space who think that that's what I'm getting into. So I got a couple of comments where they were like, are you going to start doing like those owls and apes and shit? You know, like, are you doing those weird avatar things? And I'm like, no, 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 no. I care about NFTs as the function, meaning a non-fungible token. I care about the ability to store the artwork in the blockchain in a decentralized manner so that when I perish, those works will remain and the collectors who have them will have a digital certificate that tells them that that is theirs. Which, by the way, so let's talk about that. I mentioned the book, right? So let's say that someday I get some crazy idea to NFT this book, and that the winner of the raffle gets this book. Well, that's all well and good, but once I perish, you see, that person has to prove that this is the book. And so my use case for NFTs has to do with art and certificates, tickets, special things that fans can get into that no one else will be able to do. So I'm not into the whole avatars for rich people stuff. Even if I thought that that could make me rich, it's highly tempting. But honestly, I don't think I would go that route. If I did anything that was multiples like that of that size, it's just not me. So I don't think that I would be doing avatars and that kind of, that kind of thing. I just don't see myself doing that. So it's not to say that I'm against people who do, because that's not what I'm saying at all. Obviously, if people are into that, that's great. But it's just that I got some feedback on that where people were like, I will not collect owls. And I'm like, I'm not going to make owls. I'm not going to do that. It's just not me. So I'm not going to be doing that. No, in fact, it's going to be more digital art, paintings, scrapbook type stuff. And that's just more what I'm into. But that said, I received some good news this week that the A-Box token is almost ready to be minted. So that's kind of exciting. There's going to be 10 million of those. And what I'm going to do with those is people will be able to earn them. And when you earn enough of them, it's like points. You get to do something. So we'll see what I'm going to use them for. But it's interesting because it's happening. So there actually will be an Ethereum token called ABOX. And how about Blue Little Rose avatars? Oh God, can you just imagine me doing that? Like really? I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know. I could completely contradict myself months from now and say, guess what? I'm doing Neolithic time traveling cats. I might. But at the moment, I don't see it. I don't see it as that. I want to do more digital art and I want to get my art out there more. And I'm finding new ways of dealing with the idea of keeping things permanent on the blockchain. And so therefore, my interest in NFTs is from that approach first. I didn't really know about these avatar things until I started seeing them. So for me, it's not like I haven't even bought any of those things. I have collected already digital art from other artists, which has been fun. So I totally, so Enlightened Marco on YouTube is asking me, who inspired the clothing fashion from the Anything Box era? The look was unique and goth before goth was mainstream. Who were your fashion influences? And congrats on the A-Box token. Well, thank you, Marco. Sorry. I said Mario. Marco. I can read and I can see sometimes. Well, it's funny because we can't take credit for it at all. There was a very, very active goth scene when we were part of it, and we were trying to be different, and me trying to be rebellious. It was like, I want to wear one of those long trench coats, but I don't want a black one because everyone has black ones. So I had to go find an Air Force one. That's just my way of doing it, right? Danya's hair was just out of this world. And that was strictly her own thing. She did it on her own because I don't know anyone that was doing that when she was doing it. So it was kind of like just us being free. We weren't really looking at a particular designer or anything like that. We would literally see weird people walking around New York City and Newark. And it was sort of like, wow, look at that. And then we would just experiment on our own looks, so it's kind of and there's that we're like, Mikey and I had we had our Robert Smith lookalike phase. We went through our, I want to look like craft. I went through my, I want to be Kraftwerk phase when I wore ties and whatnot. It was a phase. I mean, many phases like that. I don't think that's quite over yet, which is funny that you bring that up because somebody asked me, why aren't there any new press photos? And I'm like, I really haven't really needed them as of late, but I've been having fun, like looking at all these different time periods and things. And I was thinking of doing like a whole bunch of photo sessions and just like totally vamping it up and doing crazy stuff with my look or whatever it is, just to be funny. But at the same time, it's my experiment of self, like this is me now. It's like just black and a beanie, but you never know with me. I've gone through phases, man. So one never knows. And yes, Danya's hair was legendary. I will say that for sure. All right, let's play a song. Let's play a song, shall we? As we wind down. So I'm going to play another demo from the the song is from the 1980s, but we never actually recorded it. We used to play it. It used to be in our sets, but we wound up never really recording this song. And then one day, for whatever reason, I stumbled on the song when I was playing the guitar and I realized I was playing this song. So I was like, cool, let's turn on the recorder and record a version of this song acoustically. So I think this is 2012 when I did this, but this is Welcome to My Church. And when I say church, it's the mind, the heart. Anyway, let's turn on the overhead. And feeling particularly vulnerable, but let's play it. You guys are so funny. Oh. You guys are so funny. I can't get over that. Someday your wiki will call you a YouTuber. No, I don't want that. I don't want to go down in history as being a YouTuber. Not that there's anything wrong with YouTubers. I just know I am not a YouTuber. Ah, thank you, Marco. Thank you. And thank you, Ira. Thank you for those super stickers, super chat things. That's so awesome. Thank you. I really do appreciate that. That's awesome of you guys. So, yeah. It's not that I have anything against YouTubers. It's just that having to admit that I'm a YouTuber means that then I have to play by all the rules of YouTubing, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to do like talk about the algorithm and do this and do that. I hope it grows organically. As you know, that I'm not trying to do any promotion whatsoever to put this on other than Twitter and Bandcamp and here. So I'm a U-boxer. I'm an A-boxer. That's what I am. But at any rate, so next week I may not come on. So I don't know. I'm still hoping that it happens because, and there's a good chance it will, but I'm giving myself the extra chance that it might not happen because they're coming over to replace, well, I don't know if you can see it, but here, overhead, the real overhead. Okay. Yeah, you could see. So this window right here is being replaced, and that camera has to come down, and all these lights and all this stuff. Basically, this side of the room has to be cleared out this week. So it's kind of cool because I get to put the other camera in a different position. So by next week, maybe we'll see something different. And hopefully the window will be done and there won't be construction yet in this small room, as small as it is, right? Thank you for that, Marco. Very indie rock. That's all I could say about that. But yeah, so next week they're doing the window thing, so I don't know if it'll be done by Friday. I'm hoping that it will be. They're kind of assuring me that it will be, but one never knows. So if for whatever reason I don't stream next week, it's because obviously there's some kind of construction still going on or something happened, but hopefully not. Oh man, you guys are so awesome. Byron, thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. You guys are so awesome. But if I do stream next week, I'm going to start posting at some point this week for all of you that have collected physical art from me. And that means whether you've bought prints or if you got an actual piece when I was doing the Distances album, all of that stuff. If you own a physical piece of mine, by next week, I want to know. And I'm going to post this as an ongoing basis because one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to start NFTing the physical pieces that you guys own so that those certificates directly tie those pieces to you. And it's not going to cost you anything, but I just want to do it so that the provenance of those pieces are ascribed to the correct collector. And that's something I'm going to start doing with all the stuff that comes out. In other news, shirts are coming back, and then I'll be able to put, shirts up for sale again. So it's going to be awesome if I, get you guys to, have those certificates. It'll make me happy to know that you guys have them. But there's a chance that we can NFT them too, and then in other ways, and maybe it can actually be an investment for you that it's better than what it was just the first time, if that makes any sense. So that's something that I'm hoping to do next week if I can. I'm going to start doing all the grunt work to get that done. But that's something that I want to do. But hopefully it gets done by next week. And, But anyway, it's almost that time. So let's just play some more stuff. So this is as old as the hills, but somebody asked me about this piece. And this is from the first demo, but it wasn't on the first demo. It was supposed to be. We just didn't have enough room. So what I'm going to do, the newsletters, if you have those too, why not? So what I'm going to do is get back into the projects one by one. It's hard, man. It's hard because I have so many projects pending that it's not even funny. But I'm trying to get to each one in its proper time, or I'm trying to spend at least an hour on each one every week. And I know some of you are like, an hour? If you only knew how much I can get done in an hour on a project, it's quite a bit if I actually commit to it. So when you think about me having like 15, 16 projects going at the same time, and yeah, it's kind of like that. But yeah, that's how busy I actually am. So to give you an idea, we have Hope, the 30th anniversary is next year. It sounds like I have a lot of time, but we don't. So I want to finish all the vocal transfers to that, cleaning them up, basically. The Ascension demo, I'm still working on that, trying to get all those demos so that some of these demos that I've been playing will show up on that. And I know a lot of you guys have been asking me for that, so I want to do that as well. And a couple other things, but obviously new stuff. The 6 songs that I've been like reworking from the what I call the abandoned material. I want to try to get some of that stuff done. So next week I'm going to do some vocal recording. I'm going to take advantage of construction being done over here and then go to the studio and try to do some vocals remotely. I was supposed to do it this week, but stupid taxes got in the way. But next week, no excuses. I can go back and do some recording, which is what I want to do. But anyway, here's here's a song that you know very, very, very well that was not on the first demo, but it is on the reel-to-reel of the first demo. It just didn't fit on the cassette, so we didn't put it on there. But this is how that cassette was supposed to end. It was supposed to come back to Living in Oblivion. And so this is the one. This is that version. All right, here we go.
So I ask again, am I so alone and full of pride to never speak out? This is my world, this is my world.
So yeah, that one, it's funny because when I did the tape transfers more recently, I had done 2 transfers. The reel-to-reel that I have right now is not that great. I've considered sending this tape out to a place to get transferred. I might still do it. I'm going to find out how much it's going to cost and do it, because the reel to reel that I transferred it from was not that good. But the cassette version was actually in better shape. So it's a funny thing. But this is from the reel to reel transfer, which wasn't bad. So I'm going to look into it because I want to re-release the Ascension, the entire Ascension demo, but of course with all its B-sides, which wouldn't have fit on a cassette. And then maybe we'll do like a limited edition CD or something. I know people are going to say vinyl, but these are too rough, too old to be on vinyl. Yeah, I don't think it would work on vinyl. Besides, I don't want to wait 8 months for it. But yeah, so I'm going to work on those because I found some gems in there that I think, that really should be put out, even if they are on their own thing. But it would be nice to have them on CD at least, right? So Marco says yes. So there you go. So that one vote. So yeah, I'm going to work on it, and I'll do a limited edition CD. We'll do some cool stuff with the art, because the art from that period was all scratchboard. So it's all black and white stuff. So I really want to do something with it. So we've come to the end. And I would have just stopped it on that one, but there's one more song, and I thought, why not? It's going to end on a remix / weirdness. So this song, I'm going to end it off with this song, and then I'm off. And I will see you next week, hopefully. But I hope you enjoyed tonight. And again, this whole thing about gear acquisition syndrome, imposter syndrome, fear of success, fear of failure, all these things I've gone through. So I figured that at least as I went through all this stuff and I went through all the different techniques of getting over it, that maybe I could help others that are creative that are going through that trouble. That doesn't mean that this is what I want to talk about every single week, but it just happens to have been the subject because apparently with all the stuff that's going on, I don't think we need yet another excuse to not do stuff, So I'm going to try my best to come up with different and varied topics, but definitely feel free to chime in on Facebook, Twitter, Bandcamp, YouTube, you name it. Chime in and tell me or ask me anything you want to ask about a topic. And who knows, it might spark the interest of like, oh my God, somebody wants me to talk about that stuff. I'll do it. So, I try to shy away from the political stuff because quite frankly, there's so much of it now that I don't really want to. But I'm going to end off with my final comment. My final comment is the same one from 3 weeks ago. Do not support CBDCs. Tell the government you don't want that. That is sound advice, trust me. But anyway, I'm going to play this last song and then we're out. This was a project that I had done that would have actually been its own thing for a while. And then I just changed my mind completely on it. So mine went blank on it. I decided not to pursue it. So this song is no longer really available. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to re-release this as an A-Box song with other rarities at some point. It's one of the many projects I have in the queue. But this is Ever After. This will be the long version. And that'll take us out. And I will see you next week. And I'm grateful to the interwebs for not crashing on us. And my God, you guys, thank you so much for those super chats. I was not expecting that. That's really awesome. Take care of each other. Be good to each other. I will see you next week. Hopefully with new camera angles. Or maybe I'll have to stream from somewhere else. We'll see. We'll find out. Let's turn on the moon overhead. And I'll start shutting things down as we listen to Ever After. Cheers and good night.
I saw the sun, or was it your eyes filling me with that countenance of light, motionless? They just became the warmth, settled within me. Ever after, felt the wind, or was it your skin rushing me? Shook me to my very core. I have to say, oh what a feeling coming over me. Ever after, now dance with me. I stole a kiss, the taste was perfect. Our lips collide, sends me through the stratosphere, above the stars, beyond my woven dreams, where I'm flying through the ever after. 'Cause all those things I used to be seem so meaningless, and somehow thoughts that cross the deep blue seas float right back in my I love yous. As it stands and as it were, I will love you till the end. Maybe past it, I don't know. All I know is I want you with me till the ever after. Till the ever after. Now open your eyes, 'cause all those things I used to be seem so meaningless, and somehow thoughts that cross the deep blue seas float right back in my I love yous. As it stands and as it were, I will love you till the end. Maybe past it, I don't know. All I know is I want you with me. I saw the sun, or was it your eyes? I saw the sun, or was it your eyes? The sweetest brown eyes, your softest warm lips. I want to bite them. They make me. All I know is I want you with me. All I know is I want you with me. All I know is I want you with me.
I'm part of it. Can't you see it?